Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla, here to talk to you today about Renthal handlebars and stuff for your hands. You should be checking out a set of Renthal handlebars for your motorcycle if you need an affordable yet quality built set of handlebars. Now these are going to be made for a wide variety of motorcycles. I think we're going to see these primarily for dirt and off-road machines, but keep in mind Renthal also does make some street-based bars as well in 7/8 and 1 1/8 sizes. So I expect we're going to see these on a lot of naked bikes, street fighters, and just general 7/8 bikes that need something a little bit peppier or spiffier on there for handlebars. Installation on these is really going to depend on what kind of bike you have and what kind of setup you want to use. Generally speaking though, if you're not going to change your handlebar height or your rise, pullback, anything too crazy, this should be, I would say, either a difficult one beard or an easy two beard for most of you. Normal hand tools should see you through the job. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So let's discuss Renthal right now as a company, why these guys are important. We'll run through their product line real briefly, and then from there, we'll kind of talk about some of the other accoutrements they offer to go with their handlebars. Renthal handlebars were started in 1969. They've been around forever. Anybody who rides a dirt bike has heard of Renthal. These guys have some absolutely quality bars. In fact, many of the OEMs, believe it or not, actually use their handlebars as original equipment items. This CRF 450R you can see behind me has a set of Renthal handlebars on it right out of the factory, something that makes me happy and a lot of other riders as well. So their quality really does not ever come into question. These things are really nice bars, and I think a lot of riders are going to wind up replacing bars either for issues of comfort or perhaps because they've wrecked a bike. Those of you guys on dirt bikes, off-road machines, you know that you're probably bending up bars fairly frequently. If you ride a lot, you might go through a few set of handlebars a year. So let's run through a little bit of their lineup, talk about what makes these things special. Let's kick things off here with the Renthal Street Bar. So as you can see, this is a 7/8 inch continuous diameter bar. As the name implies, this thing is actually made for street use. You'll notice no cross piece on here. And you can also see this thing is colored. You have a wide variety of colors. So if you are trying to color match something on your bike, or perhaps you're trying to look for like maybe gold to match up with a street front end, very possible to do with a Renthal Street Bar. It's a great way to get a simple, good looking off-road bar onto your street bike. Now moving into some of their more off-road based items, you can see we have a set of their 7/8 bars here. Now, anybody who's familiar with the dirt world knows that 7/8 bars, generally speaking, you're gonna have a crossbar pad. So this is a very traditional off-road bar. You can see here they offer this thing in two different colors. Pretty decent option there as far as coloring is concerned. You've got a wide variety of looks you can get with their 7/8 series. Crossbar pads included there. And this whole bar, again, very traditional style. For those of you who are looking for a straight swap, if you have a set of 7/8 risers that are integral to your trees, Renthal bars are gonna pop right in there. Now the thing that's really important here is to remember how many different bends those come in, especially when you're in an off-road situation where your hand placement is. Sometimes even just the slightest little movement there, fractions of an inch, can really affect your comfort. Fortunately, Renthal has plenty of bends. You should be able to grab something that's going to make life a little bit more comfortable for you. Rounding things out, you can see here we have probably their most popular bar, the Fatbar. Now the Fatbar is a pretty cool design. What these do is eliminates that crossbar pad by using an 1 1/8 section here that necks down to 7/8 to accept your controls. Now some bikes are coming set up these days for 1 1/8 bars, so for some of you that might be a direct swap in. For others you may need instead to actually go ahead and do a little bit more work, grab some different risers, change things up a little bit in order to run these. But in general, the entire Renthal line has a couple of features I think are pretty nifty. So you'll notice on the clutch side of all these things, check out this knurling over here. This knurling is going to help give you a better bite on your clutch side grip. I don't know about you guys, but if I have a grip that is spinning on me, it drives me absolutely nuts. This knurling here will allow your grip glue kind of more crevices to sneak in and give it a better chance of adhesion. It's a small detail, but it's one that I really like. One of the other small details on all Renthal bars that I personally love is the mounting grid here. The mounting grid does two things for you. Firstly, it helps you center up the bar. Because these are placed perfectly in the bar, if you've ever mounted a set of bars without these, it can be hard to get them centered up exactly. This really eliminates that. As long as you can locate these against the risers, give yourself a positioning area, it's very easy to get a set of handlebars centered up pretty quickly. The other thing I like too are their degree markings on here. So if you find a bar position on your bike that's super comfortable, what the grid markings will allow you to do is is to either remember your marking on the bar and then just make a small mark on your risers, and you'll be able to reorient this, clock it back to the same position every time. So if you have to have your bars off your bike for any reason, very easy to get the exact same position again without having to futz around and take several rides and figure out where you want to get your hands to get comfy. The other thing I want you to take a look at too is the finish. You'll notice these finishes all appear to be kind of semi-glossy, and the reason is because they treat the metal by shot peening it. So shot peening is kind of a cool process. They actually fire steel shot at these things and it toughens them up. It kills the stress risers that can occur when the bars are actually made. And then the other thing it does too is sort of toughens up the outer surface of the bar. It gives it that, again, nice kind of matte look to them, and then it allows them to anodize them in these beautiful colors. That's the final treatment there that I really think sets these guys apart. You can't always get different colored bars. Renthal really does offer a lot of different colors, as I had mentioned earlier. It's something that I think does, it's nice. It's a little detail. It'll make your bars and your bike a little bit more cohesive. It'll look nice together. So let's move over to some of the other items they have here, because once you put a set of handlebars on your bike, you're not really done. You have some other stuff you have to take care of. We've got a wide variety of grips available from Renthal. I really like most of their grips. They're fairly thin, so you're gonna get a lot of feel coming through the bars. If you're somebody who's trying to dampen a bunch of vibration coming through, these might not be the best grips in town. But each of their grips, fairly thin, you get lots of feedback coming through your handlebars. And they have some kind of cool options here. You can see some of their more standard grips. Down here though, they have these ultra tackies. These things are awesome. If you like sticky grips, if you're one of those riders who cannot get a sticky enough grip, boy, the Renthal tacky grips are the way to fly. These things literally leave your fingers feeling tacky after you take your hands off them. Kind of gross, but it also means you're going to stick to your motorcycle, especially those of you guys riding in the mud, the muck. This is going to be important, going to help you stick to your bike. Of course, you can see down here a crossbar pad. We have just one of them up here. The crossbar pads are pretty cool. They're made of a foam that's actually fairly rubbery. This stuff is not going to break down. Some of the cheaper crossbar pads in the market break down really fast. They squinch down. The crossbar winds up wallering them out. They're rolling around. You don't have to worry about it with Renthal. The rubber they make these things in are really nice. And then this vinyl wrap is kind of cool for a couple reasons. First, you can see this is in orange because it's RevZilla. They make about 1 billion different colors here. But the other thing I like too is when they print their graphic, they print it on the inside. So if something hits your bars, if you get a scuff or a scrape or something, it's not going to ruin the graphic because it's printed inside the crossbar pad. Again, kind of a little thing, but it is one of those little niceties that sets Renthal stuff apart. So two other things I really like that they make. Grip donuts. Seems kind of like a silly little thing, but these are really nice. Slide these things over your grips. They're made of neoprene. Those of you guys who wind up rubbing this area of your hand raw because you're cranking down on a rubber grip and that rubber keeps catching your skin through your glove, these will help alleviate some of that. You'll glide right past this. A couple of the guys here really swear by them. For a fairly affordable item, it seems like it brings those guys a lot of joy. Rounding things out, one of their products here I think is really ingenious are their risers here. So if you're going to an 1 1/8" bar like the Fatbar over here, as I had mentioned earlier, if you don't already have a bike set up to accept that, whether you're on a street bike or you're going to throw these onto a dirt bike, you may have to swap risers. Renthal offers an 1 1/8" riser, really nicely made, beautifully machined aluminum. But one of the things I think I like best about them is check out this mount position down here. You'll notice these are a little bit off center. These are they're not quite drilled on center. What that means is you have actually two mounting positions with these. You can run them forward or backwards, change up your position a little bit. Kind of a nice addition. It allows you just one more point of sort of fine-tuning that bar fitment to you. So kudos to them for thinking about rider position on these. And that really does lead us into installation. Installation of a Renthal handlebar, as I had mentioned, kind of going to vary depending on your bike, depending on what bar you're putting on there. So if you have, say, a 7/8" bar on your bike now, you're just doing a straight swap with a bar that has a very similar bend to your factory one, it's a breeze. You're going to unbolt and rebolt. All you're really going to do there at some point is pop your throttle tube and your control boxes onto the bike. It should be a fairly straight swap. You should know that if you're using these on a street bike, oftentimes you will have to modify the clamshells a little bit. Either drill your new bars, which I'm loath to do, or you may have to modify your clamshells by getting rid of that mounting tab there. Anybody who's put a set of handlebars on a metric bike should probably know what I'm talking about. Very minor modification, quick to go on. If you're going to do something a little bit more exotic, perhaps you're putting again, say a Fatbar on a bike not originally set up for 1 1/8" bars. You may be swapping some risers out. If you're getting really crazy as far as changing your handlebar position, you may find a need to change cables, lines, things of this nature, electrical wiring. You may find a need to do some of that stuff. But in general, like I had said, you're looking at probably hard one beard, easy two beard, and our beard scale of difficulty. I really like Renthal bars. Again, anytime an OEM manufacturer is using something from the aftermarket, I always get a warm fuzzy feeling inside. It really speaks to the quality of the bar. However, my opinion is not the only game in town. Click that info button on your desktop or your fancy internet cell phone. Check out folks who are rocking a setup similar to what you're considering. If you need more individualized attention, grab a hold of one of our gear geeks, 877-792-9455. We can help you detail this setup to your bike exactly. Feel free to drop us an email, cs@revzilla.com. As always, I'm Lemmy. I'm out of here.